Hello, dear Stitchers. I hope you're all doing well today. I'm Judy Whitman with JBW Designs. It's always interesting when I start a video because it's kind of like running a race. I have to make sure I have everything lined up ready to tell you about. So the first thing is, it is a beautiful sunny day here in Michigan, which is unusual. We have snow on the ground. We have about 4 or 5 inches of snow, and so it's really pretty outside. I will tell you that my grandson Liam, who I adore, will love this part of the video because he teases me all the time about my weather reports. So I just thought you might want to know about that. Let's see, I want to thank you all for watching. And when I say dear Stitchers, I'm coming to realize that not only are Stitchers watching the video, but friends and family members are watching also. And I've decided that it's a wonderful way to connect in this era of COVID because I'm not seeing my family and friends, of course, hardly at all. So at least they get to see that I'm still working and alive and having fun with what I do. So I thought first I'd tell you about what a typical week is like for me. It actually varies. I keep a long list of tasks that I want to accomplish. And of course, I don't always get through all of them, but usually I am charting. I'm usually stitching, although most of my stitching is done in the evenings. I have a weekly contest on my JBW Designs Facebook page, which has been a lot of fun. I post 3 different models and ask the viewers to select their favorite, and then we choose a random number to select a winner, and that's been a lot of fun. I love reading all the comments, so that's been a good part. I'm shipping orders. This week I was writing newsletters because I do two newsletters a month. I do a newsletter to my shop owners, so a wholesale newsletter, and then I also do a newsletter to my retail customers. And you can sign up for that newsletter if you go to the website. And I would love to know, actually, if that retail newsletter is going through, because I'm not getting any feedback from that. And so that makes me nervous. Is it really working? The Dawn, who works for me, sends them all out. So that's not the problem. I'm just wondering, is this MailChimp working? So you can let me know. I'm also proofing, especially this week and last week, because we have new books. I have new books coming out on Friday. And I went to the printer yesterday to proof the final colors and covers and charts. And so it's very exciting. I don't have the new books to show you today, but I do have the new models. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Some weeks I'm finishing models, which I have actually quite a bit to do. And I will tell you my least favorite job is collecting from overdue accounts. And that is something that I put off usually for months because it's not fun at all. But it is part of having a business, I'm sorry to say. So today I have a story for you, and there's kind of a purpose in this story because part of what I'm going to show you is going to lead into the new designs. So I want to show you a book that I published, or actually Kansas City Quilts published 8 years ago. And there's a little story that goes with this because two of the editors from the quilt company came into my booth in Nashville probably 8 or 9 years ago and asked me if I would like to submit a proposal to write a book. And I was so stunned by this question and the fact that they wanted me to do this. And I think it just goes to show you that sometimes women don't appreciate ourselves enough. I almost looked around the room going, are they really sure that it's me? And they assured me it was. They loved my work. So I did submit a proposal. It was a lot of work. I stitched 11 models for the book, and I had to choose a theme. And so my theme was special occasions. And I titled the book Affectionately Yours, because that just seemed like when we're making a gift for someone, that seemed like a good title to go with those models. So one of the parts that is in this book that's so interesting, this is when I'm going to take a little detour here with my story, is that my mom loved to do machine stitching, but I never remember her doing much hand stitching. However, there's one thing that she did make before I was born that is truly amazing. So I thought you would love to see it today, and I have it with me. And the amazing thing about this is it is a christening dress that she did all by hand. If you look very closely, you can see all the tiny, tiny tucks. There's lace inserts, there's tucks at the bottom. All of the buttons on the back were done by hand, all the little buttonholes and the buttons. So when I look at this, I'm just amazed at what she did. There's actually a little slip that goes with it too. And I wonder even if at one point there was a bonnet, although I don't have that. So here's the little slip, and that too has all the tucks on the bottom. And she's passed away a number of years ago, but I keep thinking, oh, I wonder what pattern she used and how did she do this all by herself. She didn't have a sewing machine at that time, so that was her only option. So the beauty about this is really a treasure, because my children have worn it for christenings and my grandchildren have worn it for christenings. So it's really just such a wonderful thing to have as an heirloom in our family. And this is a picture of our youngest granddaughter, Ellie, and she's 12 now, so this would have been about 11 years ago. She was probably 4 or 5 months old, but you can see her in the little christening dress. So, and the reason I'm talking about the christening dress is it's actually featured in this Affectionately Yours book. So I'm going to show you. And I talked about what a treasure it was. And I feel so lucky to be able to carry on the tradition of doing stitching. I don't do anything this elaborate or fine, but it's really just a wonderful story. So let's see, what else can I tell you about the book here? Let me show you some of the pages in it. I marked a couple that I thought you might like to see. One of the designs that I did was almost like a Halloween theme, or not a Halloween. Oh dear, I'm losing my mind. It's Valentine's, and it was called My Heart to You Is Given, and it was a little tray worked in red. And incidentally, none of these designs have ever been published in booklet form. And I actually am going to take one of them and show it to you today because it is coming out as a leaflet. Here's another little design that was in the booklet using that alphabet that we saw a couple weeks ago, and I made a little handkerchief pillow out of it. And I thought that would be beautiful as a wedding gift. And then there's one more to show you. And I have another story about the photography in here because it was so amazing. So this was a little baby design. It was called Count Your Blessings. After this, while we were working on this and getting the models all ready, I found out from the editors that they were going to be doing the photography in Kansas City, which is where they were located. And incidentally, the sad thing is this company is out of business now, which is really too bad because their publications were amazing. So I decided that I wanted to be part of that process. And so I actually ended up paying my own way to go and be part of this. And it was such a treat because we went all over the antique mall looking for treasures that we could use in the photographs. And here's an example. When I showed you this, you can see the little baby crib that we found. We used the christening gown in the background. It was so much fun. It took all day. I loved seeing how they did all the props and set it up. I have probably 10 or 12 of these left, so if you're interested in them, just go onto my website and you can order it there. So where this story is going is right here. So the design on the cover was to be like a ring bearer's pillow, and you can see it's called Love. And I decided when I did my new designs that I was going to take that and restitch it and make it into new models. And so that is going to be one of 4 new designs that are coming out. So I've shown you a little bit of the history of the book that the Love design was originally in, and now I want to show you some of my models. So I updated the models by mounting them in a different manner instead of a pillow. So this one, I actually finished. I mounted this on the comment board that I talked about in one of the earlier videos, and I always put a little bit of felt or padding underneath that, and then I mounted it on a second board using the rickrack on top of that, and then mounted it on a third board, and you can see what the back looks like. I had some fabrics in my stash that I could use, and I thought it was a really kind of a fun, colorful finish. So this book is just called Love, and that's one of 4 new titles. And then, excuse me, and then I'm going to take a quick drink of water here. I'm losing my voice. Let's see here. So I worked the model over 1, and you can see what that looks like. I used a darling little pom-pom trim from Dames of the Needle to finish this. And so that was mounted on one board, and then I hand sewed the trim on and then mounted it on the backing. So there it is, worked over 1. And if you can study it up close, you'll see there are really only 3 colors in this piece, but I used a number 12 pearl cotton to make little tiny dots in the background. And it almost looks like a dotted Swiss fabric, and that's on both models. So that is one of the new designs that is coming out. Let's see, I have another one to tell you about. Well, let me just show you real quickly. I still have the model of that original design. The ribbons are kind of all floppy all over the place, but this was the original model of the Love. So if you wanted to finish it as a pillow, you can see how elegant it is. All right, so the next design I want to tell you about that I've been talking about, I think, in the past, because I believe I showed you the chintz where? Can't remember. So anyhow, it might be new. You might know about this already. I think I did talk about it. So often I am always looking for inspiration. And in this next new design, I have a collection of chintz-ware china. And this is so interesting because it comes in many different patterns. The thing I love about these 2 pieces, of course, is they look like county cross stitch. And it's actually called Petty Point. I'll show you another little piece, a little dish like that. Set those over there. I even have, and I forgot for a while that I had it, but this is a necklace that I bought years ago at a trade show that is actually made out of china. If I show you the back, you can see the mark for the china, and I just love it because it's one of my favorite patterns. So if I showed you somewhere here, yes, as you can see from this here, I have several reference books on chintz china, and you can see how many different kinds of patterns that were manufactured. This was from England, of course. So that was fun. So that inspired this next design. And it is, of course, called the Chintz Alphabet. It is not framed yet, only because I am waiting for the frame to arrive from Family Tree Frames in Arizona. And so when we published the book, my graphic artist was able to kind of put a little frame around the exterior so that it looked finished on the cover and on the inside. But this was so much fun to do. And I'll tell you a little bit about the design process on this, because it takes quite a while to develop a design, especially one that has so much detail in it. So I started out, let me get my folder out here, and I started out actually, of course, charting on the computer. And as I've mentioned before, I do many iterations of one design. It's a long process. So I start and then I start moving things around and I change colors, and it's easy to do on the computer. Well, back in, let's see, I started this in November, and back in November, my operating system on my computer failed, and I had to resort to the old-fashioned way of using graph paper and colored pencils because I needed to keep charting because I wanted to get it done. So after the computer finally was back working again, I kept on, and this is, all right, we're already on this one up to variation number 10, and you can see that as I'm working, I'm also making little sketch marks on planning ahead on what design and element is going to follow and what the placement is going to be. So as I say, it's quite a long process. It was quite an involved chart for Dawn to chart for me. It has a long colored code, and then this is kind of, you can see the beginning of the cover of the book and what that will look like. So that is the Chintz Alphabet design. As I say, it was great fun to do. I think I'm going to do something else with some of the other elements in there. Okay, so I know last week I gave you a little hint about this heart ceramic jar that I got at Hobby Lobby, and it has a wooden lid to it. So you know that I love to do series, so this is the 5th design in a series called In the Round, and this is Love in the Round, and this is worked over 2. It's worked on a pale pink linen, number 32 count linen, and it too is finished with a pom-pom trim from Dames of the Needle. And the wonderful thing is that when you finish it like that, it fits nice and tightly right on the top of the jar. So that's Love in the Round, and you can see when I tell you, I've told you in the past that I always try to find elements that will fit with the design. So we have a swan and a basket and an envelope and flowers and the Eiffel Tower and a crown and of course hearts and a key. And someone asked me last night, I did a Zoom video for a stitching group, how do I manage to get everything smooth on the edges and on any of these kinds of designs? And I said, well, I've learned that if I use tiny little elements like what I call a leaf and then little tiny flowers, that I can use those elements to kind of fill in the design where there are empty spaces and then also to make it round. So the other model of that design, I talked to you about my candy last week. You see I haven't eaten one bit of it because I mentioned it wasn't tasty. So this is the little lid, the design worked over 1 that fits right on the top of this jar. And I'm going to attach it with a little bit of Velcro so that it turned out, I thought, quite sweet. And on this one, I used just a little tiny bit of rickrack to finish the edges. So you can see what that looks like. You can see what it looks like on the back. So that is Love in the Round over 1. Whoops, I'm dropping things here. And all right, so I have one more. Where did I put it? Ah, here it is. So I have one more design to tell you about, and that is it's Seaside 7. And you know I love to do my series. So this is part of quite a long, let me shuffle these back. And in the next coming weeks, as I'm doing more videos, I'll show you these models. I think I've shown you some of them because they're really a lot of fun. So Seaside 1 had the angelfish, the flamingo, and the seahorse. The 2 had the seashell and the pelican. See that quickly. 3 had the dolphin and the crab. 4 had lobster and a turtle, a sea turtle. 5 had the seagull and the conch shell. And then last year, I did a mermaid and a starfish. So I'll show you in a minute what those models look like. So this year I thought, all right, what am I going to do? So this year I did a little sailboat, and this is worked on a Blue Whisper 32 count linen, as is the little beach umbrella. And they both were finished by my professional finisher. I love what she did. She used a nice little blue striped fabric on the background of both of those. And then on the over one model, she mounted them together as if almost they're like a little frame. And so here's the over one model, and that's stitched on a 28 count linen. So those are fun to do. They've been very popular, even though something came up on the computer that I did not want to come up. They've been very popular because even though people don't always live on a lake or go to the ocean, they have great memories of visiting there. So I think that's why they've been so popular. Now, what else do I have to show you? Okay, two more things here. So last year, the very first design that was in the round was called Rabbits in the Round. And this was released at the Nashville Market last year. My finisher mounted it. I had found a paper mache box that she covered with fabric. And she cut out the little rabbit. And then I want to show you what this looks like, because on the first couple designs, I always included an extra design on the inside. And so this was a little rabbit with the umbrella, which was taken from an antique sampler. And it was a wonderful display item because I could put Easter grass and Easter eggs in that one. So that was very, very popular, I'm happy to say. And that book looked like this. So it too is like a trifold. Let me open it up. You can see what it looks like. And I also worked that over one. And then I'm really going long today. This is unusual for me. So the other thing that I wanted to show you, these were the designs from Seaside Six. So this is the mermaid, and I love how my finisher did them with the little rounded top and the ruched ribbon around the edges. You can see the little tiny pins there. And then there's also the starfish that was worked on a polka dot fabric from Fabric Flare. And then here it is over one. So that was Seaside Six. So I only have a few things left on my list today. I have to get something out of the way here. I told you in the last video that I like to feature a shop every time I do a video. And the reason for that is the shops are really the lifeblood of designers. Without them, we would never do well. So I'm asking my shops who are on my automatics if they would like to be part of this program. And I got an answer today from one of my shops in Ohio, and she was very happy about it. First of all, what is an automatic? That means that, and I have quite a few shops that no matter what designs I put out, they automatically want a certain number of those designs. They'll take all the designs and they'll stock them in their shops. So it's a wonderful thing for me because I know when I publish that I already have quite a long list of orders to ship out, and I will start shipping on Friday. So once again, I'm using my simple graphics here. My shop today is called Just Stitching. And Shelley is located in Strongsville, Ohio on Prospect Road. And I'll tell you a little bit about what she told me when I wrote to her today. She said the shop celebrated its 32nd anniversary in September. She's lucky to have a supportive husband who is retired and does the household duties while she's busy handling mail orders. And I know this past year the shops have been swamped, because so many of them are so limited on the number of customers that can actually come into their stores. She said they have 3 rescue dogs who keep us laughing. Her other passion is reading, and that keeps her entertained. So I hope that you will contact Shelley. As I say, she always orders all of my new titles every time I release, and I really appreciate her business. So let's see. I've talked a long time, haven't I? So the next video I'm going to do is going to be a Valentine theme, which of course is coming right up. And I have a number of models that use hearts, etc. So that will be fun for you to see. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. I have many thank yous. Thank you for your comments. And please feel free to ask questions, because I love to hear what kinds of things that you're wondering about. So thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.